Hi, my name's Elaine Page. I am the CSD Library Liaison at Elmhurst University. This session is about searching for speech pathology CSD resources at the A.C. Buehler Library for graduate students. So this is the library homepage, library.elmhurst.edu. There is a course guide for graduate students called Research Methods. So if you go to the quick start bar in the middle of the the library homepage, and we scroll down to CSD, you'll see 507 Research Methods. And this tutorial will actually live on the front page here right below this welcome screen. You can always contact me directly. Email is preferable just because I'm not always in my office this semester. It's easiest to contact me via email. And so my link is right there. It's elainep@elmhurst.edu. But what we're going to talk about in this session is some of the article resources that we subscribe to here at the library. The main ones that you will most likely use are CINAHL Plus with full text and Medline with full text. A lot of you may be familiar with PubMed. We also have a link on our course guide that should include a button that will search for Elmhurst University resources if you use this link as opposed to just Googling PubMed. But I want to focus on the CINAHL and Medline. They work very similarly in our databases, so I just want to show you how those work and some of the features that they have. So this is CINAHL with full text. It'll ask you to log in. That's your e-number and password. Both CINAHL and Medline have their own standardized subject headings. So you'll see at the top of the search box here, we've got our three boxes to put information in, but you'll also see there's something here called Suggest Subject Terms. Just because a term is standard in the CSD literature does not mean it is standard to either CINAHL or Medline. And in some cases, they're not standard the same way in CINAHL and Medline. So I'm going to do a quick search here. So you'll see as I type, it shows me some options, and sometimes these are really helpful, especially for your additional terms. You start with kind of a main term and then you add additional terms to narrow it down. So as I'm starting to type, you'll see I'm getting suggestions like dysphagia or swallowing disorders or deglutition disorders, some other choices here. In this case, though, I'm going to have CINAHL tell me what the official subject term is. So I typed in dysphagia, and I'm going to click Suggest Subject Terms. And I see that is not the official subject term. So I'm going to look through this list. Sometimes the list gets pretty long. This one's pretty short. So you'll see it says use deglutition disorders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a check mark in the box right next to deglutition disorders. If I'm looking at a therapy, so you'll notice here dysphagia therapy, then maybe I want to choose swallowing therapy instead. So for this first one, I'm going to actually just do the disorders. For each of these headings, there are a bunch of standardized subheadings that, depending on the heading, may be used. So here is a bunch of them. You'll see these same ones no matter what subject you search for. So I can see diet therapy, drug therapy, ethical issues, nursing, pathology, other kinds of therapy, rehabilitation therapy. So I could choose several of these if I wanted to narrow my search down right away, or right now the default is that it's going to include all the subheadings. So you'll see over here, it moved it over here, and this search database box is now available. I can also do one additional limit to make sure that it's a major concept. They have major and minor subject headings in both of these databases. So I want to make sure this is a major heading. It's not just a peripheral kind of a heading. So I'm going to click Search Database. So you'll notice it does this funny formatting that tells the database that I'm looking for a major heading, and this is the official language I want. So I got 5,719. That's a lot. But I can then add some different kinds of additional subject terms. So I could do rehabilitation. And this is one of those times that maybe I want to do this. I want to choose rehabilitation or therapy or treatment or intervention. And I'm going to research. It's best to do your word searching first before you start using the refining possibilities over here on the left-hand side. So I cut out 3,000, almost 3,000 results. So that's way better. As I look down some of these subjects, I see deglutition disorders rehabilitation. I see swallowing therapy methods. So basically what I would expect here. Now I can do some limiting. You'll see CINAHL and Medline has this too. They have some different kinds of materials. If you are looking for empirical primary research, you're going to want to make sure that you're choosing academic journals in these databases, not magazines, not continuing ed stuff, dissertations, or other things. So I'm going to say, show me only the academic journals. It doesn't get rid of a ton, but it got rid of another couple hundred. If I am concerned that I'm getting things that are too old, I can use the slider here or just type in the box, only show me things from 2000 or 2010 forward. What I do not recommend is using this limit to full text. That is only a last resort if you just have so much stuff that you are looking for. Often that is not the case when you're working on a graduate level paper. So do not use full text because you'll be excluding things that you may actually really need and you aren't going to find because they're not full text in this database. It doesn't mean we don't have them full text anywhere. Full text literally means full text in CINAHL or full text in Medline. So I would lose this very first one if I choose full text, but it's a good chance that this is full text in one of our other databases and I could get it right away. Even if I can't, interlibrary loan in our current environment probably takes 2 to 3 days. So it's not super long. And if you're working on a semester long project, you have time to request things through interlibrary loan. And we'll talk about that too. So I can also look at what the major headings were. So I can see sometimes this helps me find some additional sources. I can look to see what journals are talking about this topic. So not surprisingly, there's a journal specifically on this topic. There's also perspectives on swallowing and swallowing disorders. So of course, these make sense that they carry the most articles about deglutition disorders and rehabilitation or treatment. I can also limit by language. There are a few non-English articles in here, not too many. It doesn't do me a whole lot of good here. But these last two down here that I want to talk about, you can do limits by age if you are looking at a particular age group. They give you some choices. You'll be like, well, what if I'm looking at a specific group of children? It gives me the most common ones for this search. So adult, aged, middle-aged, really aged. But if I do show more, it'll show me all the options. So if I was looking at infants, I could say, no, really, I want infants. And so now I'm down to 97, looking at therapies for deglutition disorders in infants. And also, in some cases, gender is important. So you can choose whether these studies studied males or females. So these are really handy to use on the side. Okay, so now I found some stuff. So if I find one that's full text, it's really easy. I can go to the title, and I see there's the full text. Woohoo! But before I do that, I just want to show you some of the other things that are in this full record. I can see these are the subjects that were chosen. There's my major subject. I see therapy showed up there too. This particular article is a systematic review, and just to review that, it is a collection. They researched a bunch of databases and found articles on a particular topic, and then did some analysis on those articles. So they did not do any primary research themselves, but they did look through these for commonalities, suggestions for future research, etc. So if you find one of these, you may not be able to use it because it's not a primary source, but it's an amazing tool. It is a collection of other articles. So I am going to actually take a look at the full text really quickly here. And I see it's right here. So what I'm going to do is, I can look through the article, but I want to look at the sources that they used. What's nice about these is they give you some suggestions on how they actually search for things. There are standard ways to look at look for items for systematic reviews. It's called Prisma. And so they tell you how they use the Prisma strategy. Where did they look? Which databases did they use? We have most of these. We don't have ProQuest dissertations. We don't have the National Library of Australia, but we have access to most of these, CINAHL, Embase. So if you need help finding more sources, please let me know. As your library liaison, that's what I'm here for. But then they, found the results, blah, blah, blah. Systematic reviews often have tables comparing the resources. But don't forget, the information at the end is what's really amazing. So here what's great about this is they give you all these examples of what searches they used, exactly what phrases they used to look for things. So you'll see here's what they did in CINAHL. And you'll see major heading, things like that. So it's pretty cool. And then when you finally get to the end, it's the reference list. This thing is amazing. Check through these and see, they're going to be older, obviously, than the published article, but there may be articles here that are actually the primary research that may be exactly what you're looking for. So don't neglect the reference list here. If you get lucky and there's a DOI with a hot link, you're certainly welcome to click on that. Otherwise, you may have to do some searching. That'll be another mini tutorial that I will do on how that works. I want to go back. Sometimes in CINAHL, you will see something even more impressive. And of course, I'm not going to find one right now. Sometimes they'll actually give you a list of, oh, here we go. On number 11 right here, you'll see this list is has the cited references. So the PDF of the article is here as well. But if I click on this link to the cited references, I see everything that's in their reference list. And it's searchable. If it's full text in CINAHL, it'll be full text right here. If it's not, it'll give me these options to search for it. We are transitioning right now between our old search, which was Find It at EC, and Find It EU. It seems to be working better even today than it was yesterday. So I would recommend Find It EU. Try that first. If it doesn't work, try Find It EC. I'm going to do one here. Let's see. Let's try this one. So I'm going to do Find It EU. Right now, it doesn't show me that we have anything available. If I click Sign In, it's going to take me to our screen again. Since I've already logged in to get into the database, it just takes me one extra step. And then it'll show me, okay, darn, I can't get this one. In that case, I would actually go back and try the Find It EC while it's still here. And you'll see it's not available, but if I click this, it'll actually let me request it through interlibrary loan. So that's it for this mini session. We'll talk more about finding articles in the next session. Thanks.